Ethan stood on the platform, watching the rain fall in steady drops. The sky above Seattle was a dull gray, and the air smelled of wet pavement and fresh water. He held his umbrella close, but the wind still found its way under his coat. Every morning, he took this same train to the same station. Today, however, he felt as if nothing was the same. He remembered his daughter's laughter from last weekend. She had danced in their backyard, spinning in circles until her hair caught a breeze. Her joy had made him smile even when he was tired. That memory warmed him for a moment, but then it was replaced by a knot of worry. Bill sat on the kitchen table at home, waiting to be paid. Rent was due in 2 days, and the grocery list claimed to be endless. He took a deep breath and tried to calm himself. The train's brakes hissed as it approached, and Ethan stepped aboard. He found his usual seat by the window and settled in. Outside, the city passed by as a blur of buildings and wet streets. He stared without really seeing, lost in his thoughts. "I can face today," he whispered to himself, testing the words on his tongue. At the office, the hallways were quiet and red. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Ethan walked past an old clock on the wall. Its glass face was cracked, and its hands were stuck at 2:47. No one had bothered to fix it. He wondered how long it had been broken, how long people had ignored it. The sight made his heart pound. Then came the moment he had feared all night. He saw Mr. Grayson's door shut tight. Ethan knocked softly and pushed the door open when he was invited in. The boss sat behind a large desk, his face set and hard. Papers lay in neat piles around him, and the lamp on the desk cast a pale light across the room. "Pack your desk," Mr. Grayson said without looking up. His voice was cold and flat. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. "You're done here," the boss added, as if reading from a script. Ethan felt his legs go weak. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He stood there for a moment, staring at the polished wood of the desk. Then he nodded and turned away. Each step back felt heavy, as if the air itself had grown thick. He gathered his few belongings, a notebook full of scribbles, a framed photo of his 2 children, and his favorite pen. He clipped the photo to his bag and picked up his coat. Outside the office door, the world seemed to tilt. Ethan stepped into the hallway and walked toward the exit. No one looked up. No one said a word. The silence was louder than any noise. He reached the front door of the building and pushed it open. The rain had not stopped. It fell harder now, as if the sky wanted to wash away the day. Ethan pulled his coat tighter and held his umbrella low. His thin jacket offered little warmth. Each raindrop felt like a needle against his skin. His heart felt even thinner than the fabric of his coat. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The noise of traffic and rain surrounded him, but inside he felt a quiet resolve growing. He opened his mouth and whispered, "I can still start again." The words sounded small, but they carried hope. With that thought, Ethan took one more step forward into the wet morning, ready to face whatever came next. Ethan closed the front door behind him and gave his umbrella a gentle shake. He could feel the last drops of rain fall from its edge. Inside the house, the hallway lights were warm against the cool dampness he carried from outside. A soft lamp glowed on a small table near the door, and a fresh cup of tea waited for him on the sideboard. The steam curled slowly into the air, carrying the rich scent of herbs and honey. For a moment, Ethan simply stood there, letting the quiet calm of home wash over him. As he took off his wet coat, he heard soft footsteps behind him. Maya appeared at the end of the hallway, her face kind but serious. She did not gasp or show surprise when she saw him. Instead, she offered him a gentle smile and reached out to help him with the umbrella. Ethan met her eyes and felt a mix of relief and shame rise in his chest. He swallowed hard and said in a low voice, "I lost my job today." The words seemed too small for such a big change. Maya led him to the living room and guided him to a cozy armchair. He sank into its cushions and folded his hands in his lap. Maya sat down beside him and placed a warm cup of tea in his hands. He wrapped his fingers around the mug, enjoying the warmth that traveled from his hands to his body. She spoke softly. "You did not lose who you are," she said. "You still have your heart, your mind, and our family. We will be okay." Her calm voice felt like a gentle blanket on his raw nerves. Ethan glanced around the room and noticed a framed photograph on the wall. It showed his youngest daughter blowing bubbles in the backyard of their first apartment in Seattle. The bubbles caught the sunlight in rainbow colors. He remembered how she laughed when a bubble popped on her hand, her eyes wide with delight. That memory cut through his worry like a shaft of light. He closed his eyes and let himself feel the joy of that moment. When he opened his eyes again, Maya had moved to a small shelf and returned with a simple wooden box. She placed it on the coffee table between them and unlatched the lid. Inside lay a delicate gold necklace with a single pearl pendant. It was her grandmother's necklace, precious and special. Maya watched him carefully. "You can sell this," she said softly. "Use the money to start something new." Ethan's heart pounded. He felt both guilt and hope at the same time. He lifted the necklace from its box and studied it. The pearl gleamed softly in the lamplight. He thought of how much it meant to Maya. A lump formed in his throat. Maya reached for his hand and said, "I believe in you more than in any piece of jewelry. This can help us begin again." He nodded slowly, his vision blurring with tears he would not let fall. Together, they moved to the small dining table and cleared a space. Maya fetched some paper and a pencil. They sketched ideas, drawing boxes and arrows, circling words and crossing out shapes. They tried several logos before agreeing on a simple design. The letters E and M inside a circle with a tiny package icon at the bottom. They laughed when one sketch looked more like a flower than a box. In that moment, the weight of the day felt lighter. They talked late into the evening. Maya suggested they start a delivery service, using Ethan's experience in logistics and her skills in organizing. They listed their strengths and the things they would need: a laptop, printed cards, a phone line, and a small desk space. They added new ideas to their plan, like offering a weekend drop-off service for families who needed it, and a simple mobile app update via text message. Each idea brought a spark of excitement. When they finally stood and stretched, the house was quiet and dark except for the lamp glow. Maya took Ethan's hand and said, "Tomorrow, we begin." Ethan squeezed her hand back and felt a warm certainty. He had lost his job, but he had not lost his purpose. With Maya by his side, he felt ready to turn this spark of hope into something real. Together, they walked to the front door, each step echoing with promise and the soft promise of a new day. Ethan woke early the next morning with a mixture of hope and nervous energy. The rain had stopped, and pale sunlight peeked through the clouds. He sold Maya's necklace to a local buyer and held the small stack of cash in his hand. It felt heavy and important. With the money, he went to a nearby office supply store. He chose a simple secondhand laptop and a pack of blank business cards. He set up an email account using a free service and designed a basic logo, E&M Logistics, in neat, clear letters. By midday, he had rented a small desk in a shared workspace downtown. The room was plain, gray walls, a single coffee machine in the corner, but it was theirs. That afternoon, Ethan sat at the desk and opened his laptop. He wrote a message to an old client he had once helped at his former company. His fingers trembled as he typed, "Hello, this is Ethan from our previous work together. I have started my own delivery service. May I help with any shipments?" He reviewed the email twice, then pressed send. He leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath. Maya, watching from a nearby table, offered him a warm smile. "You did it," she said softly. A few hours later, Ethan's phone buzzed. A message from the client read, "I remember you. Please send one package for me tomorrow morning." Ethan's heart leaped. The first order was small, a single box of office supplies, but it meant everything. He packed the box with care, checked the address twice, and delivered it himself. The client greeted him with a firm handshake and said, "Thank you, Ethan. You are very reliable." As Ethan drove back to the shared office, he felt the word reliable settle in his mind like a promise. In the days that followed, more orders came. 5 one-off jobs turned into 10 in a week. Maya handled the phone calls, organized schedules, and brought sandwiches and coffee to Ethan at the desk. Sometimes the silence of slow days made them anxious, but Maya always walked over and squeezed Ethan's shoulder. "Keep going," she would whisper. Those words carried him through each quiet afternoon. After 2 weeks, they had enough to expand. They bought a more comfortable chair and a second desk. They placed a small bookshelf on the side to hold their paperwork. Then Ethan met Noah, a young man looking for work. Noah was quiet but eager. He agreed to help sweep the floor and pack orders each morning. One day, Ethan asked him, "Do you like working here?" Noah looked up and smiled. "Yes, I feel safe and respected." Ethan felt a swell of pride and a deep memory of his own days feeling ignored. By the end of the month, they hired 2 more team members, Lena and Tom. Lena had a bright, cheerful voice that made customers feel welcome on the phone. Tom was a careful planner who organized delivery routes with precision. Every Friday afternoon, the team gathered in a circle for what they called the thank you circle. Each person spoke one thing they appreciated that week. Lena thanked Maya for her clear schedules. Tom thanked Ethan for guiding him. Noah thanked everyone for their trust. Ethan listened and felt a deep sense of belonging. As the weeks turned into months, E&M Logistics grew steadily. They did not spend money on advertising. Instead, their careful work and honest service spoke for itself. Word of mouth spread. They called me back. They packed with care. They delivered on time. Ethan found himself standing each morning at the shared desk with a new kind of confidence. He remembered how he felt on that rainy platform months ago and realized how far he had come. One evening, as the team packed the last order for the day, Ethan looked around the small office. The walls felt brighter, the papers in neat stacks, the logo on the window glowing in the streetlight. He turned to Maya, who was folding route sheets, and said, "We built this together." Maya smiled and reached for his hand. Ethan knew that their journey was only beginning, but he also knew that with heart, respect, and the support of each other, they could meet whatever came next. Ethan's journey began on a rainy morning in Seattle. He stood on the train platform, feeling the cold drops of rain and the weight of his worries. At work, he learned that Mr. Grayson had decided to let him go. In an instant, he lost his job, his routine, and his sense of security. He left the office building in silence, clutching a small photo of his two children. When Ethan came home, Maya greeted him with calm strength. She did not show shock or anger. She simply offered him a cup of warm tea and held his hand. In that gentle moment, Ethan realized he was not alone. Maya reminded him of who he truly was, a caring father and a hardworking man with a caring heart. Together, they made a plan. Maya offered her grandmother's gold necklace to sell for seed money. Though Ethan felt guilt at first, he saw Maya's steady faith in him. She sketched ideas on paper, and they drew a simple logo, E&M Logistics. That night, they went to bed with hope and purpose. The next day, Ethan sold the necklace and bought a second-hand laptop and blank business cards. He rented a small desk in a shared office space. With trembling hands, he emailed an old client, asking for small delivery work. When the first order arrived, Ethan packed it carefully and delivered it with care. The client called him reliable, and that word became a promise Ethan held in his heart. Orders grew slowly but steadily. Maya answered phones and organized schedules. They hired Noah, a quiet young man who felt safe under their respect. Soon they added Lena and Tom, and every Friday they held a thank you circle to share gratitude. Their small team turned into a family grounded in kindness, respect, and hard work. Months later, news came that Ethan's old company was in trouble. Mr. Grayson reached out, and Ethan had to decide whether to help. With Maya's support, he chose not revenge, but legacy. He bought the company, walked its halls again, and introduced a new culture of fair pay, rest, and open respect. The same broken clock on the wall now reminded him not of defeat, but of how far he had come. Ethan's story shows that one setback does not define us. With love, courage, and respect, we can build something better, starting from small steps and growing through care for others. This story teaches us that true strength comes from support, persistence, and respect. When faced with loss or change, We can lean on loved ones and use small acts of courage to begin again. In your life, you might share your plans with someone who cares and ask for help. Take one small step every day toward your goal. Treat others with respect and build a supportive team. By doing these, you turn challenges into new beginnings and grow stronger every day. Congratulations on listening through Ethan's journey. You have practiced your English listening and understanding. Now, let's test your memory. What did Ethan sell to start his business? A. Maya's grandmother's necklace. B. His father's watch. Write A or B in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel for more inspiring English practice. Your support keeps us motivated to create high-quality content. We work for free to help you learn English, but in the early days, our resources are limited. If you can, please consider a small donation to help fund our work and reach more learners. Thank you for your support.